going to do postures 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to look at posture, how to get from posture 2 to 3 again, how you actually achieve that. A little bit more detail on that. So first of all, posture 1. A couple of ways of doing this, but we're going to use this one. You just stand there, you relax your pelvis, you relax your bum, and your body's upright. Relax the back of your neck. Okay, ideally your shoulders, outside edge is aligned with the outside edge here. If it isn't and your shoulders are a bit forward like this, you can see it's altered my posture dramatically to do that. So you do the lift, pull shoulders back behind you, not elbows particularly, they might move, but shoulders, then drop them and then align them. So the outside edge is aligned. So get that feeling, might feel that chest pulling a little bit. Okay, so let me just do that myself, get there. Okay. All I want is my spine to be completely upright. I want the weight between the 2 feet. I don't want it on the toes. I don't want it on the heels, particularly in this. If you're trying to achieve certain things, you might want that. But for our purposes, keep it in the middle. Drop your pelvis, shoulders down to the pelvis, drop your hips, relax the back of your neck, crown of your head above the midpoint between your 2 feet. Ideally, making a vertical kebab, the skewer would go through the crown of the head, it would pass through your perineum between the muscles, in the muscle between the genitals and the anus, and it would pass to the point between your 2 feet, right in the middle. So you're aligning those 3 points. Yeah, okay, this is position 1. We don't have to dwell on it too long. You relax, you let the arms feel heavy, drop your fingers. Okay, so we can use what we were talking about earlier. We can use it in this. So we're talking about opening the joints is what we were talking about. Now, you can use gravity to help you here. So 1, 2, 3, both sides. But your arms weigh, 10 pounds, something like that, between 8 and 10, maybe a bit more if you're at the gym all the time. And you just drop your arms down and you just let them hang. Now use the actual weight of your own arms to do the work for you. Let gravity do everything for you. Just let go your fingers. So you've got 3 joints in each finger. Just let the joints undo. Let the fingertips fall to the floor. Let the palms fall off the wrists. Let the wrists fall off. Let the wrists fall off the elbow joint. In other words, the forearm as well. And let the upper arm, with the entire arm, of course, fall off the shoulder joint. Okay, so that's grounding position 1. Yep, that's your starter position. Okay, now we're going to do a pelvic tilt. Your pelvis is starting to tuck under. I'm starting to lift my hands quite close to me up the front, and now I'm tucking under. My knees are having to bend a little bit. I've lifted up quite close to the body, and now I'm going to just extend. My shoulders dropped all the time. I haven't lifted my shoulders at all. Notice my elbows are not sunk, they're out, but they're not overlifted. I'm about, 2 foot from the body with the arms, with the hands, about approximately thereabouts, doesn't have to be too precise there, and it will also depend upon the length of your arm. Okay, so I now have not lost the concept of my finger joints opening and my palms and my wrists, and although the elbow is slightly bent, I feel as though it's not. I feel as though it's well open there. And I feel as though the backs of my hands are pushing towards the screen, and I feel as though my back is pushing towards the wall behind me with all the plants on it. Now, what I'm looking for is the connections between the arms and the body and that feeling of educated tension. In other words, if I push my hands away from me slightly, it makes it a little bit too tense, maybe, but it depends how you do it. So I need the feeling of the hands doing that without actually doing any particular movement. So what I need to do is feel as though I've got the elastic band all the way around my back to here, to the back of this hand. So I feel as though the elastic band's connected, but on the other hand, I'm not trying to stretch it too much. And I feel as though my back is going backwards. That's part of the elastic band. If I try too hard and do this, okay, everything's gone up. This has gone tense. I've now locked up, and the joints have actually been compressed slightly. So I don't want to compress my joints. I actually want them to open. So I have to find that perfect position where the arms are in the right position. Now, just stay where you are there. Let me just go back to something that I said earlier. And if I've got my arm here, okay, I'm doing a push as it happens. It doesn't matter. Could be like this. Okay, let's do it like, I'll do it like this. If I overextend, this has all gone tense, everything's locked up. I feel like the muscles have gone so rigid that they're in, that it's almost like I've desensitized them. But on the other hand, this is too soft. So I now feel like they've gone soggy. They might be sensitive, but they're completely soggy. And I've lost the connection to the rest of my body. So what I need is I need to extend this arm. Okay, this is now connected to my spine in the middle. If I do something with this hand, let's say here, now this hand is now connected to the back of this hand down here. Well, I've now made what you call this educated tension idea around here. So when I'm in this position, overstretching really doesn't help. Yeah, it actually creates tension. So I just need to, but understretching, gone soggy. I've lost the feeling of connection around my spine and back. So I have to find the right place. Careful with your neck. It's very easy to pull your head forward like this. Okay, so we're going to look at how you now get from position 2 to 3. Okay, so we did this a little bit on a previous class, but I'm going to do it again. Now then, what happens is this elbow, the hands are going to go to this position here. Yeah, eye height, or if you want higher, but eye height is the minimum. Okay, so we're down here, which is roughly speaking shoulder, chest, heart height. And I'm going to feel as though this elbow pushes up and away, but without overstretching. So I have to keep this concept of educated tension in mind. As I do that, if something is going forwards, I must have something going backwards. I have to have the two things to maintain my central integrity, if you like, or equilibrium. So when I push forwards, you're not going to see much push forwards, if any, but I feel like I'm pushing forwards. But here on my lower back, particularly my lower back and my middle back, middle and lower, I feel like I'm expanding slightly here. So I'm sat down. I'm going to make it pretty obvious. I'm going to really sit down. Okay. So now all I do is, if I'm going to exaggerate it so you can see it, please don't do it as much. It's wrong. I push my back backwards like that. It's much too much. I've now just used a load of muscles. I've gone tense to do that. So you're not going to see anything when I come to do this. I just push my elbows forward and up, turning my hands. And I've used my back. I've connected what's happening with my arms to what happens with my back. Yeah. So I'm now in this position. And if you want to go higher, you can do, but just use a little bit more of your back. And when I say a little bit more, I don't mean force it higher. I mean the amount of your back you use. So when you're in this position and you do that lift, this bit engages. Okay, so just to drop back one step. In this position, the bit that's really particularly engaged is up here somewhere. Now, as soon as the arms go up, it's like, here's the bit I'm engaging, right? Can't quite get my arm there. So here's the bit I'm engaging, particularly. As I lift the arms up, it's like the bit I'm engaging goes down slightly. And if I want to lift higher, I have to make that bit engage even lower. So if you're going to be up here, then you have to engage and be much more conscious of lower down in your lumbars. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just get myself aligned. This is by far the hardest position, especially if you're up here. These positions are far harder, and they're definitely harder if you don't use your back. So what we're trying to always do if you always think of the body like a seesaw. Because if something goes up at the front, something must go down at the back. In other words, you can't just lift your arms and allow the rest of the body to just hope it's okay because you've lifted your arms up. If you just do that from here to here, all you're doing is rotating the arm and the shoulder socket. You're not actually involving anything else in the body to make that action happen. So we need to make both sides of the body work all the time. So you're here and we're going to come out of it and we'll just pop through via the fourth position. So sink elbows. We'll come to this one at some point, probably maybe next time. And you sink down to here, wrists are lower, slightly in at the wrist, notice, not soggy hand. And then we go to the fifth position and you come back to the lower one down here. Okay, again, we'll look at that at another point. And just release your hands and straighten up. That's it, good. And if you want to then do this circling of the legs, because if you've been doing this for a while, you know, more than a minute, then you're going to need to stretch these muscles out if you're not used to it. Good. Okay, so